Have you ever wondered what the scariest sound in the world would be? Maybe it's a sudden bang in the middle of the night, or an alarm you weren't expecting. But what if you were hundreds of feet under the Atlantic Ocean, sealed inside a steel tube packed with nuclear missiles, and you heard the screech of tearing metal? What would you do then? Let me know your first thoughts in the comments below. Believe it or not, this exact nightmare scenario happened in the dead of night on February 3rd, 2009. This is the almost unbelievable true story of how two of the world's most advanced nuclear submarines from two friendly nations somehow managed to collide in the vast emptiness of the Atlantic Ocean. Our story involves two incredible machines. First, the British Royal Navy's HMS Vanguard. This is the lead boat of its class, a colossal vessel over 150 meters long, displacing more than 15,000 tons when submerged. Think of it as a stealthy, underwater skyscraper. Its primary purpose isn't to fight other ships. It's a ballistic missile submarine, part of the UK's continuous at-sea nuclear deterrent. This means that at all times, one of these Vanguard-class subs is hiding somewhere in the world's oceans, carrying up to 16 Trident D5 nuclear missiles. It's the ultimate insurance policy, designed to be completely undetectable. Our second player is the French Navy's Le Triomphant. Its name literally means the triumphant, and it's the pride of the French fleet. Slightly smaller than the Vanguard, but just as deadly, it's also a ballistic missile submarine, carrying France's own M45 or M51 nuclear missiles. Like its British counterpart, the Triumphant's entire existence is based on one principle: stealth. These submarines are engineered to be the quietest machines ever built by humans. They're coated in special anechoic tiles that absorb sonar signals. Their machinery is mounted on noise-dampening rafts, and their propellers are designed to create minimal disturbance in the water. They are, for all intents and purposes, black holes in the ocean, ghosts that slip through the water unseen and unheard. So, how on earth did these two masters of stealth, these underwater phantoms from allied nations, end up in the same tiny patch of a colossal ocean at the exact same disastrous moment? To understand that, you need to understand how they operate. Both the Royal Navy and the French Navy have designated patrol areas in the Atlantic for their deterrent submarines. These areas are vast, but they're not infinite. And while the exact locations are a closely guarded secret, it's understood that they operate in similar general regions. The whole point is to disappear. They don't actively ping with sonar because that would be like shouting "Here I am" in a quiet library. Instead, they rely on passive sonar, basically giant, sensitive underwater microphones, to listen for any potential threats. The problem is, when your entire mission is to be quieter than the surrounding ocean, you become invisible even to your friends. The Vanguard and Le Triomphant were both so incredibly quiet, so effective at their job of being silent, that they were completely deaf to each other's presence. They were like two ninjas, cloaked in black, creeping through the same dark hallway, and neither one knew the other was there. On that February night, they were both submerged, patrolling their assigned sectors, their crews going about their routine duties, completely unaware of the impending disaster. The sea conditions, the water temperature, and the salinity layers might have also played a role, creating acoustic shadows that made detection even more difficult. Then, it happened. The sound wasn't a bang like you might imagine. Survivors described it as a horrifying, prolonged scrape and a series of thuds. It was the sound of two multi-billion-dollar war machines, each carrying a city-ending arsenal, grinding against each other in the crushing blackness of the deep ocean. Inside the HMS Vanguard, sailors were thrown from their bunks. Alarms blared. For a terrifying few moments, nobody knew what had happened. Had they hit an uncharted seamount? An iceberg? Had there been an internal explosion? The crew rushed to their stations, running damage control drills they had practiced hundreds of times, but hoped they would never have to use for real. Their first priority was the reactor safe? Second, was the hull breached? And the third, terrifying thought, were the missiles secure? A similar scene of controlled chaos was unfolding aboard Le Triomphant. The French crew was just as shocked and confused. The impact had severely damaged a large section of its bow, including the prominent sonar dome. This is a submarine's eyes and ears. Without it, the sub was effectively blind and deaf. The French captain and his crew had the same horrifying checklist: reactor, hull, missiles. For both crews, the minutes after the collision must have felt like an eternity. They were hundreds of miles from land, hundreds of feet underwater, in a damaged vessel carrying unimaginable destructive power. A hull breach at that depth would mean instant death for everyone on board as the ocean rushed in to crush the submarine like a tin can. Miraculously, the main pressure hulls of both submarines held. This is a testament to their incredible construction. While both subs sustained significant damage, neither was fatally wounded. The HMS Vanguard suffered visible scrapes and dents along its starboard side, near the missile compartment. Imagine a long, deep gash on the side of a whale. It was a serious wound, but not a fatal one. The damage to La Triomphant was more dramatic. Its large, bulbous sonar dome at the very front was essentially sheared off. It was a crippling injury that rendered its primary detection system useless. Both wounded giants, their stealth compromised, their crews shaken, began the slow, tense journey back to their respective home ports. The Vanguard limped back to Fastlane in Scotland, while La Triomphant made its way to El Long in Brittany. The journey home was fraught with tension. They had to surface, making them visible to satellites and any other ships in the area. The secrecy of their deterrent patrol was shattered. The initial reports from both the British Ministry of Defense and the French Ministry of Defense were vague. They downplayed the incident, initially refusing to even confirm that the other vessel involved was a submarine. The French authorities mentioned a collision with an immersed object, which many people joked was probably a whale or a shipping container. But the truth couldn't stay submerged for long. The sight of the nuclear submarines returning to port with obvious, heavy damage around the same time raised too many questions. Investigative journalists and naval experts pieced the puzzle together, and the story broke. The world was stunned. Two of the most sophisticated, expensive, and dangerous weapons platforms on the planet, belonging to friendly, allied nations, had crashed into each other. The incident highlighted a terrifying vulnerability in the concept of nuclear deterrence. The very technology that was supposed to make these subs undetectable had made them a danger to each other. The official explanation, when it finally came, confirmed what experts had suspected. The extreme stealth of both submarines made mutual detection, with passive sonar practically impossible. It was a 1 in a million accident, a statistical improbability that had somehow come true. The aftermath led to immediate changes. The Royal Navy and the French Navy, along with NATO, began to coordinate their patrol zones more carefully. While the exact details remain classified, it's understood that they implemented new procedures to deconflict their patrol areas, creating a sort of invisible traffic management system in the deep ocean to ensure this would never happen again. The cost of repairs ran into the tens of millions of dollars for both nations. But the real cost was the blow to the image of invulnerability that these submarines are supposed to project. The incident served as a chilling reminder of the immense risks involved in operating these underwater weapons systems. A slightly different angle of impact, a few feet higher or lower, and the story could have been a global catastrophe. A breached reactor could have released a plume of radioactive material into the Atlantic. A damaged missile casing could have had unthinkable consequences. The world got lucky. Very, very lucky. The collision of the Vanguard and La Triomphant is a story that sounds like it was ripped from a Tom Clancy novel, but it's a completely true and sobering piece of modern history. It shows us that even with the most advanced technology in the world, human error, unforeseen circumstances, and sheer bad luck can lead us to the brink of disaster. It's a tale of the ghost in the machine, so good at hiding that they became invisible even to each other. So I'll ask you again, thinking about those sailors in the dark, what do you think is the scariest part of this story?